Hello, welcome to our LinkedIn Live series. My name is Daria Golebiowska-Tataj, and we're having this open lecture on network intelligence for our Train the Trainer cohorts. Today, the program is about focusing on one of the network IQ skills, diving deeper into the network IQ skills, that is the skill engagement. As a quick update, the Network IQ Index is a way to measure how people can utilize strategically the networks to drive innovation and purpose-driven growth, building the strong ties, that is the ties developed through the frequency of communication with people we work most often. So with our teammates, with our collaborators, sometimes with our peers and members of our communities. And then of the weak ties, that is people we know through such platforms and LinkedIn or any other strategic social media networks that we utilize for innovation and purpose-driven growth. The network intelligence is measured based on 7 competences. These competences we identified as the minimum competences needed to be able to strategically transfer people from weak ties to strong ties and to build the networks fit for our purpose. So the skills are network strategy, e-networking, engagement, empowerment, digital communication, collaboration for diversity and influence. And the skill engagement falls into the set of the skills with e-networking and empowerment. And it's about the ability to keep up habits which allow us to maintain long-time, meaningful relations with people we work with in our teams and in our networks, both online and offline. We identify also 4 different profiles, network IQ profiles, why people utilize the networks. So let me quickly remind you that we have 4 profiles: the buddy, agent, builder, and maven. And the skill engagement needs to be at least at the intermediate level for all these skills. And for people who really want to excel, especially if they are building the networks to accelerate growth of their entrepreneurial ventures, they should move from intermediate to advanced. But what is the bottom line is that the skills need to be at least at the intermediate level. Now, let me quickly look through why people utilize the networks and then come on specific case studies of our super connectors at the Network Intelligence Academy. So a buddy is a person who is using networks to share different kinds of resources, to share skills, maybe to share office space, to share technology, to share digital platforms, to share knowledge, to share information. The agent is a person who either needs to utilize the networks to close transactions, so can be salespeople, or can be people who have all sorts of catalyst roles for driving change and transformation. The builder is a person who uses networks to jointly develop different kinds of projects, integrated solutions, or build partnerships, gain funding. And then the maven is a person who uses networks to really frame different pieces of information, expert knowledge, to be able to disrupt, to innovate, to monitor business changes in the environment. And each of us is never really the only one profile. We are all a mix of these profiles. And the more flexible and efficient we are to utilizing the networks towards these 4 different professional objectives, the more agile we are in building our ecosystem. So let me focus on our super connectors and how we used the students in the Network Intelligence Academy to try to engage with them. So we have the different people coming from different cultural zones. And what is really important is that engagement, especially online, requires a very big cultural sensitivity and literacy, because building the cultural awareness by engaging with different type of people, we are gaining a intuitive knowledge how to utilize our assets that we have to share with them, how to reach out, to whom to reach out, and how to engage if you want to build common projects, how to get a piece of information if we want to frame what is upcoming, what are the new trends. And in different cultures, we do it in a different way. So let me first focus on this cross-cultural literacy against our superconnectors. One of them was Paul Marca, from the Silicon Valley for many years. Paul Marca was a senior administrator at Stanford University, and was responsible for invigorating this very entrepreneurial, very innovative ecosystem by building their online education for executives globally. And in the academy, during a video conference with our students, Paul Marca was extremely friendly. And if you network with people from Silicon Valley, you will realize that there is this absolute keen openness to engage, even with people you do not know or people you hardly know. You would be very keen to introduce them to other people in your network. So in a way, the cultural code is that you're not thinking too much of what is the level of trust. You assume that by building a more connected ecosystem, so connecting two dots, two people in your ecosystem, you are creating more opportunities for growth. And Paul Marca was very open, telling our students that it is a good thing to think strategically. Who can you connect when networking with Silicon Valley entrepreneurs or investors or industry people? But he was also very precise in saying that in this culture, in the Silicon Valley culture, you really get only one opportunity to connect a dot to a dot. So in a way, you give a credit to everyone, but you better make sure that this person is well prepared to engage. Now, some people say that using the network intelligence framework, there is a big bias towards being highly networked, sometimes over-networked in Silicon Valley, versus being under-committed. So people usually look for many different projects, many different opportunities, and they do it at the expense of getting really deeper dive and deeper commitment. So in a way, this culture requires you that you're strategic when understanding what is the right moment and how to engage, because you are given actually one and only chance to reach out to a specific person. And it will not be a problem to get connected. The problem will be of how to keep up the meeting in a way to go to the next stage. And the advice Paul was giving is that be very specific on to what is the proposition for the other person that you're being connected with. So don't go to a meeting unprepared. Do your homework. Do your search online, trying to understand what are the projects the person is involved. Try to maybe build a digital rapport by simply showing your presence on different social media where this person is engaged. Paul was obviously extremely clear that the transactional nature of these relationships is very much geared towards win-win situations, that you're being connected not because there is a one-sided value, but you need to think strategically that when you get connected, when you engage with them, that you see this mutual benefit. And my favorite trillion-dollar opportunity of Silicon Valley is that in the old times pre-internet, Steve Wozniak, one of the founders of Apple Computers, was saying that because of the Silicon Valley culture and the ease of engagement with people offline at a time, he got introduced to Steve jobs simply by a person who's saying, hey, you should meet that person because this, what you have in common is you both like computers and you both like pranks. You like making jokes. And this was sufficient to put two things together, two people together, that created a sparkle and gave rise to a fantastic story, a fantastic company, and a trillion dollar opportunity that transformed lives of millions of people around. Now, in the digital world, if you're not attending an offline event, a networking event, how do you get connected in the right way? Sometimes when the key behavior for engagement that would not, when you would kind of get a lower score, is that you are really maybe too transactional, too oriented towards getting things done. And when you try to develop a relationship online, think about the engagement skill that there is another human being at the other side of the digital wire, and try to maybe be playful, you bring some element of humor, maybe disclose some personal aspects of what you like, where you are. And one way of doing it is avoiding very transactional messages. Make sure always what especially the younger generation may feel is redundant. Take time to realize that there's a human being, and take time to write one or two sentences or say something that makes you look human, although you're just on the computer screen. And remember that the joy of connecting with people online and offline is there. We are human beings, so never underestimate this micro moment where you're taking time not to be too transactional, to engage with people by showing, for example, that you know that a person belongs to a certain communities or has certain knowledge, or showing appreciation for what this person just published on social media. This is so important and so challenging at the same time, especially as we work across silos, that we find it hard to connect to what is important to a person working in another bubble, in another silos. So can be a silos within one company, can be a silos between big and small businesses, can be a silos between university and business. But what is important is that slowly, before getting to ask for anything, you first build a relationship by engaging with spend micro moment, investing micro moment into sharing ideas, sharing emotions, sharing knowledge, whatever you can. Try to bring in this disruptive element of sharing things with your community and with your specific person. A very different aspect of engagement was brought in by a startup investor from Spain, Victor Seriania, who is a board member, advisor, business mentor in blockchain and virtual reality. And Victor, who in his experience had managed large organizations, international organizations, making them grow successfully, and then because of the market turnaround, was also winding them down. Victor was especially keen on sharing with our Network Intelligence Academy students what it means to be to engage with the strong ties with people we work with, especially if we are at the head of the organization. Victor said that the most important element is continuing engagement in the moments of success and in the moments of trouble with the closest people you work with. And if you're a team leader, if you are heading a department, or if you're heading an entire organization, it is good to have engagement rituals where you make sure that people know that you are out there, that you're committed of sharing with them a piece of information that may be relevant. He was especially keen on explaining that when it comes to sharing information in times of distress, it is important to take time to do it personally. And it was important to say that he stayed committed to the team. He stayed committed to be part of the ship till the very end, and that he was committed to make every single person in a company find a new job, find a new professional prospect, find a new career. And he engaged with them across company, but he also made sure to reach out to individual people and make sure that especially those who appear to be most vulnerable feel a sense that he's there with them, taking care till the very end. So when we speak about engagement, it's really about the fact that the world around us is changing so quickly. We create new projects, we dissolve projects. Nothing is as stable as it used to be. And it is good to think about our environment, our ecosystem, as an interconnected, large network of teams and of organizations. And the engagement is the key skill for building a community that will outlast any turbulence. So in this sense, it's important that you give time and space for people to reach out to you, but you also are proactive in communicating using digital media, so mass self-communicating, but also taking time simply to make a call, to make a specific person believe that that he or she is important to you as a person, as an individual. Now, what we also learned was our super connector, Beata Stelmach, who was an amazing leader. Beata was a former Secretary of State at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Poland. So she was a government official that left the public administration to work as the Director General of General Electrics in Poland and in the Baltics, of GE in Poland and the Baltic states. Then she was also the head of the Leonardo helicopters in Poland, and finally became the non-executive director at Bank Millennium and the member of the Entrepreneurship Council to the President of Poland. And Beata was telling how to engage and how to engage across the bubble of public administration and private businesses when growing the companies globally. She was specifically telling a story where she received a phone call from one of the embassies of Poland in Africa, in one of the African countries, where a Polish entrepreneur was trying to build a local business. And she decided to take a flight, go there for the negotiations and join the negotiations, sit at the table, and through her authority, give the power to the owner of the business, and to give the strength, the seriousness to the whole negotiations. It was almost hard for us to believe, where she was saying that as entrepreneurs, as innovators, we should never underestimate the goodwill of people from outside the bubbles, from outside of our organization, to really support us. And although it seemed so incredible that she can engage in this way, given her mandate, but her role, her mandate was indeed to help Polish businesses build successful presence abroad. And she took it very literally and engaged. Now, what we can draw from this case study is that let's not build barriers between us in whatever project we are and between the people who could possibly help us and who are the right people to help us. Now, Beata would surely not do this extra mile and take a travel and fly and sit in these negotiations, which, thanks to her presence, concluded into signing the contract, but she did it because she had a previous knowledge of the entrepreneur, of the organization, and she was monitoring and engaging, mutually engaging through all sorts of different means, online and offline. So keeping up the network is as important as expanding the network, and not embedding the biases we have in the offline networking to online networking is really a key for success, because we cannot never ever underestimate that one single engagement can be a game changer for whatever project you do. I want to thank you very much for listening to today's inspirational case studies of our superconnectors from the Silicon Valley, Paul Marka, from Spain, Victor Seriania, and from Beata Stelmach, Poland, and invite you to our next LinkedIn Live, same time on Wednesday next week, 4 p.m. Central European Time. Thank you so very much.